Good
Good
morning.
morning. Good morning.
How you
Lighter
doing over there?
day. Good. Still a little chilly in the morning, but afternoons are getting warm. So many beautiful trees are starting to bud again. We're starting to get life again. This morning, I spent a good, I don't know, 15 minutes trying to chase deer through my yard. Without
Aw.
being noticed, which is not possible, by the way. I had no idea how incredible their hearing is. Like I literally just cracked a door, like the sound of the door unlocking, and they all went.
Absolutely. So, this was quite a few years ago. I normally go home and visit my family in the wintertime, usually for Thanksgiving. And so um, this, my dad had 80 acres of land. He's now sold it, so it's kind of sad when I go home. I can't go walking on the land anymore. But, um, just go out walking and enjoying nature and the weather. So there's this back corner that's full of all this willow brush. And so you can't really see through it. But I'm walking down one side and I didn't know walking on the other side was a doe and her fawn. And like we literally like got to the corner and we saw each other.
Okay.
I was kind of freaked out. I'm like, I don't think I'd ever been that close to a deer in my life. And it was so sweet because it was the mom and her baby. And like I said, we both kind of freaked each other out because, we were all surrounded by brush and like the sound didn't travel through. So she didn't hear me. I didn't hear her until we were a couple feet away from each other.
That happened to me last summer. I want to say it was like a cardinal or a blue jay. I think it was a cardinal. And I was sitting outside and this bird came like right next to me, but it completely startled me. And so I screamed and I did one of these and then it freaked out. And so it ran away and I was like, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were coming. Like ring the doorbell next time. I wasn't ready. Like it could have been such a beautiful, tender moment of like nature, alighting upon my desk, but instead I was like, and I just completely freaked out. So, but I have recorded like 8 different species. I am. I mean, I can't call myself a birder because I still don't know where my binoculars are. They're around here somewhere. So like I can't quite identify it yet. But I'm definitely having a lot of fun with everything coming back and being alive again. Thank goodness. I mean, winter's all pretty and all, but I need this. I need this. But this morning I probably had like 15 deer right on my property because my right next to my property is like 80 acres that I wish I owned. But it's just land. So they just, there's this like a barbed wire fence, but the deer just don't give a shit. They just hop, right through it and they move on. They don't care about our boundaries. As it should be, I suppose. But yeah, so it's really cool. I'm happy. The
Nice.
daffodils are out. That makes everybody happy. Everybody keeps talking about the daffodils. So
Yeah, daffodils they're special. Like, um, I, that's one thing that I miss down here is things like daffodils and tulips and those kind of flowers just can't grow down here. And yeah, when you see them poking through, it's like ah.
the funny thing is that I helped my landlord do some landscaping last year, and I was pulling stuff up and I really couldn't tell the difference between like this one and that one. I don't know. It all looks the same to me. And then this year, as I'm watching the daffodils come up, I'm like, oh, I think I might have plucked a few of those last year, not realizing what that was. Sorry. Yeah. So anyway, we're having fun here in North Carolina. But I'm
Um,
excited because I had my cacao ceremony. It was full moon, it was eclipse. I actually, for the first time, managed to actually see this celestial event. For whatever reason, stress, light pollution. I don't know. In South Florida, I never got to see any of it. Like I have missed every single blue moon, planet alignment, blood moon, this moon, that moon. I never saw it ever, ever. I just never had that fortune. But because where I live now is out a bit, I get to just go right outside and look up, and it was really, really beautiful. I did set my alarm for 3 a.m. to try and catch it at peak. I took a crappy cell phone picture, but I, really just enjoyed being in the moment. And it's been really neat around here lately.
Yeah, we had our cacao ceremony here also for the full moon, and I think it was the last one that we had in the sweat lodge for this season, unless April is somehow a month from now miraculously still cool. But it's not just about even like the time, like because I have to spend a lot of daytime hours setting it up, and so like if it's too hot for me to set it up, like it's not happening. We're going back to the womb at the office. But I do every cacao ceremony is special, but I do feel like this one was extra powerful, extra special. And whether it was that incredible full moon and the energy of the like I don't fully understand because I'm not an astrologist, but I just dabble in it for fun. And so the eclipse is like an event that occurs, I don't know if it was like an hour long or something that I didn't stay up for the whole thing of it. I did set my alarm. I went out and saw it here in South Florida. I could see it perfectly clearly, incredibly red and beautiful. I also took a really crappy picture with my cell phone of it, just as like documentation. Yes, I did get up and see this. I don't know like how long does that energy of the eclipse affect humanity? Like even with we're in Mercury retrograde and again like um and I know they always say like the effects can actually start up to 2 weeks before it goes retrograde and continue even 2 weeks after it goes retrograde. So I I don't know for a fact, but I feel like that eclipse of the moon did make the cacao ceremonies even more powerful than what they normally are.
Sure. And I think that, another big magical part of it is the bond that everyone is able to create in those ceremonies, not just because it's an amazing time and it's an amazing space that we've put together, but also people start seeing each other again and again and again. And so you have, sometimes people don't even see each other outside of our ceremonies, but when they do see each other, it's like, oh, there you are, my safe space again.
Mhm.
And it's a different type of relationship. One of the things that I really love about retreats and ceremonies and just circles and even speakeasies, which are just simple cool nights where everybody gets together, is that when people introduce themselves, they rarely talk about what they do for a living. They rarely, people generally don't say, I live in a 3,000 square foot house and I have 6 cars and 5 horses and three, nobody talks about that, even though in our society we think that that's our measure of success. But when you get into these circles, it's really not. It really is the great equalizer. And so everyone comes in and they just really speak from their heart, and we realize just how much everybody has in common. One of the question or one of the well our question today is, how do you foster authentic relationships in a busy world? And one of the topics that keeps coming up in a lot of our stuff, and particularly most recently as well, is the topic of isolation. So much of this busyness has not led to a more full life, but into a more busy life. But everyone feels isolated and everyone feels like they're the only ones that are feeling this particular way. So these gatherings are so much more than just, do you believe in the power of the moon? Do you believe in creating your own destiny? Right? Sometimes it's just like, hey, I need to sit with another human that gets me.
Yeah.
And I
I do love how in these ceremonies yes, some of the people know each other outside of the ceremony, but most of the time, these are people that don't know each other outside, and just um, seeing how much they connect, how they support each other. And um, this one, I just felt too like everybody allowed their own wisdom to come out. You know, people are always looking for leaders and people to show the way, and it's inside every single one of you. And I think creating that safe space, connecting with the cacao to open your heart, because your authentic self lives within that heart space. It doesn't live up here in your brain analyzing and figuring everything out. It all lies here, and being in that space does allow your authentic self to come out. And it is so beautiful to um, just to see how we are all the same. Yes, we're unique, we're different, but we are the same. And society out there is trying to teach us how different we are, how we should not love each other, we shouldn't like each other, we should hate each other, just separate and divide. And really, we are the same. And if you just sit with people and allow people to be themselves and express themselves, like, you just start to realize, like, yes, we are all one.
Yeah. What's really fascinating to watch is, our groups tend to be very diverse in all the different ways that diversity could be, whether it's, gender or, I don't know, cultural backgrounds, age, place of origin, socioeconomics, right? So like when everybody comes in, everybody feels that they're different, but they're totally not. And so, believe it or not, the thing that I have to say the most in all of my groups is number one, let everybody have their own experience. If someone is crying and they're like, stuff's running down their face, let them have their experience, because we're so programmed to want to go and hug and stop those feelings from coming out. But there is so much growth that happens in having that full experience, crying or laughing or, like I said, the stuff running down the face, whatever it is. But to watch someone create their own healing that they didn't even realize they could do. So much of the way that our society is set up, because we're not self-sufficient anymore, because we don't live in groups anymore, right, is you go to the expert for help, and which is great, right? Like I don't know how to fix my sprinkler, and so if I need my sprinkler fixed, I have to call someone. But there's so much growth that can happen when you realize that you actually can fix your sprinkler, right? Like you actually can fix that thing that hurts you so much. And sometimes the part that creates that for you is just having the space to talk to other people about that, and just listening to someone else. So inevitably, I tell people, when someone starts sharing, especially like my elders in the room, I know you know the answer. Like I know you've been where they've been, and I know you want to tell them how to fix it, but just sit still and let them have that experience, because learning it on your own is so much more powerful, right? Than having somebody like tell you the answer. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So that's a real fun and exciting part of it. The isolation I see a lot with women, I see a lot with entrepreneurs, especially because they're always trying to having, like you're trying to market that you have this really great business, but you're secretly struggling. And how do you get help if you can't show anybody that you're struggling? These types of circles are a great place to let your hair down. I'm sure you do the same. We always talk about confidentiality. What's said in the circle stays in the circle. And I don't know about anyone else, but like sometimes I don't know, I forget. Like I forget the strife. I forget, like if someone comes and says, I'm struggling with XYZ, I never remember that per se, because at the end, everyone feels so much better, that's what sticks in my mind, is the growth, right? Like how exciting that they got from A to B. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, yeah. And you're talking, so I think I talked about last week how I quit my BNI, which is a business networking group that I've been a part of for 8 years, which was a big deal to let that go. And but really strongly felt like it was time to move forward because I need to extend my reach out there and meet new people, and which also brings it back to I get to go out and network other places again. And that is always a struggle for me because so much of networking is that really shallow, superficial conversation that, everybody's like passing out their business cards and, choose me, choose me, choose me. And, sitting in that space where I get to do that, but I also get to be authentic and create connection out there as opposed to just here, let's trade business cards. So it's hard because not everybody there is in that space, but also recognizing like I get to be the change out there in the networking world, and I get to work on actually creating relationships with new people and connecting in an authentic way. And so it's scary and challenging, but there is a piece of this is exciting to see like what can I do to create something new and create a shift and um like be the change that I want to see in the world.
Well, I think it's so much easier when you are yourself and not coming from fear. I have been in every financial position possible as a business owner, and I think this is my 14th year, so that's a lot of life in there, plus raising kids, plus life. And yeah, at the very beginning when I first started networking, I was like, okay, my mission is to you know like show myself to as many people as possible and kind of just cover a big blanket. And of course, there's all the growth that happens in between. And now I kind of feel like, okay, when I walk into a space, I'm going to be myself. And it's like my one business coach, told me the story about the butterfly. If you want to catch a butterfly, you can either get a net and run around a field and try and catch it, or you can plant a garden and sit still and wait, and they will come. And so I'm definitely in the garden phase of my life in every way possible. To the point that sometimes people are like, oh, do you want to do XYZ? And I'm like, that feels a little bit like chasing butterflies. I don't think so. Like, I'll stay here, me and my one little flower. It's fine. It's okay. But the more authentic I am, the more I speak my truth, being present. Like, being present is not to, do a nice little pun here, but it's a gift. It really is. How do you build authentic relationships? Our last cacao ceremony was, well, this one was special. It was like 3 hours because I also did a sound bath at the
Oh
end,
yeah.
which was really, really special. But it only took 3 hours for this group of, it happened to be all women this time, to connect and to create relationships. We started a little WhatsApp group, just like we have with our Fort Lauderdale friends, started a WhatsApp group there, just to keep people connected and support. Our little the group with everyone that's been to our retreats, that group has grown so beautifully, right? Like, everyone jumps in and says, hey, I need support for this, and then other people jump in and they're like, yes, here I am, I'm supporting you, here's an idea, here's a way for me to help. I mean, even if you can't make it to the retreat, like, you're part of this community, which is so beautiful. And we have the
Yes.
Facebook group too, so
Yes.
listen, I've got a lot of friends that are only virtual friends, but like, I need them in my life.
Well, and that brings, the whole topic of, social media and the whole, are we friends? Are we Facebook friends? And it can be really difficult to create any kind of authentic relationship through social media. But I do have to say, like, I I have people that I consider like real friends that we have never actually met in person. And one of them in particular, and it's funny because I've been feeling the need to like reach out to her again and connect because it's been a little while. But Melissa Perry Potter out there, she does these amazing soul drawings.
Mm.
You know, it's ink on paper, and all you do is give her a name, just a first name. And through that, she energetically connects to the person and creates this incredible drawing. And then she also types up, you know, a couple pages of insights that came through to her about whoever you're requesting the drawing from. And I, it's, I think it was 2010, so 16 years ago, when she first did a drawing for me. And actually, when I requested this drawing, I didn't even understand what she was going to do for me. I thought she was going to draw me an angel, and but no, this drawing comes back, and I don't know if I shared with you that I now realize that drawing is the picture that you took of me holding the moon.
Oh, wow.
They're
Wow.
sitting underneath each other right now. And someone asked me a question this was a couple weeks ago, and I turned and I looked, and all of a sudden I realized, holy crap, that picture she drew of me in 2010 is the picture you took of me. What year was that we did that? 2018, right? It was before the pandemic, wasn't it? So, like, and I'm getting goosebumps thinking about that right now. But anyway, like through her drawings, like because people would see mine and then they would want one. And so then me requesting drawings for these other people created a deeper level of connection with whoever I ordered one of those drawings for. And then she, on the other hand, like years later was like, because I didn't realize, like, it was me and my like requesting all these drawings. Like, I thought she had been doing this forever and ever, and really, like, she had just started when I got my drawing, and so me getting all these other people to draw them just like grew that business for her, and allowed her to open up a studio for herself and do her art. And um, like she wrote me this message one time. It's just like, wow, like in here, we have never met in real life, but we have both impacted each other's life on such a deep, profound level. Like, so authentic relationships can occur anywhere, anyhow. They don't have to be your bestie that you're sitting with and hanging out with all the time. And, and I also look at like our relationship, like, we don't live close to each other anymore, but yeah, we do this every week. So we do see each other a lot, but
See, you're in my house every Tuesday. Look at this.
So that's the beauty of modern living, that like how we foster our relationships. There's so many more possibilities than what there were years ago.
Yeah. And it's like everything else. Like you create the family that you want, you create the environment that you want, and that's another part of how to build authentic relationships is the more authentic you are, the more you will attract people that feel like you and want to talk about the things that you want to talk about and want to be supported in the way you want to be supported. And sometimes those things are seasonal as well, I'm 51. I've had a nice long life, and I've had a lot of people come and go from my life. I needed them in those specific eras of my life. And then we outgrew each other, and that's okay. I'm totally at peace with that. There's a couple friendships that probably will end up being lifelong friendships, but I don't know until I get to the end, and that's okay. But I will say, follow your intuition. That's another real great place of building relationships, is that sometimes I just feel a nudge to reach out to someone. Something pops into my mind, or I see something that reminds me of them. And inevitably, every single time I reach out, they either say to me, "Oh, wow, I was just thinking about you," or they say, wow, I really needed to hear from you today. And so those little things that pop into your mind, they're not nothing, they're something, they're a nudge, they're a message. It doesn't mean derail your day and quit your job. It just means if somebody pops into your head, like, just let them know. How sweet is it for someone to reach out to you and say, hey, I was just thinking about you, right? I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not trying to get you to do anything. I'm not here to judge you or nothing. I'm just want you to know that you're on my mind. And I think that's so beautiful. And I'm going to even expand that and talk about grief for a second, because I think when we know people who have lost people, and I've talked about this before, let those people know that you're thinking about their person too, like share a happy memory, say, hey, I was just thinking about so-and-so today and this funny joke that they told me, and I thought you'd like to know that. What a gift. What a gift. Like, a message like that, I don't need to talk to that person every single day to call them my friend. Just to know that they are thinking about me when they don't need to be, that's gorgeous. The other thing I do, hold on, show and tell, is my little cards. So I have a stack of postcards, and so these are, my business, obviously, with my name and my stuff on the back. But then the other day I had one of the locals here gave me this one. It's Where NC Begins, and it says hello from Murphy. So my South Florida friends will be getting these soon. But I love mail. I don't know if you ever had pen pals. Did you grow up with pen pals?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
I mean, I think about it now and I'm like, I could have been corresponding with an absolute sociopath, but it felt great to send these little letters everywhere. And so I love letters. I have a little stamp collection, and I carefully select which stamp goes on which postcard for which person, depending on the message I want to convey. But it's such a fun way to let someone know that you're thinking about them. And that to me is a relationship builder as well. So send me mail. I love mail. Send it to me. I love it. And going to the mailbox is like hiking for me. So
so
I know
we'll
it's
be
coming.
contributing to your health and well-being by sending you a letter.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yes.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. I did want to when you were talking about like being your authentic self to attract, people that you want to be around. One of my favorite memes from years ago was, let your weirdo light shine bright so the other weirdos know how to find you. And it's so true. And the other thing too that I love about that is, like, by you exposing your true self and putting it out there, that gives other people permission to put their true authentic self out there, because we've all been so programmed by the media, by our churches, our schools, our everything, like, this is what you're supposed to be. No, you're not supposed to be anything other than yourself. And everybody has been working so hard to try and fit into the box that, that was created. Oh, you are this, so this is how you have to dress, this is how you have to talk, this is how you have to act, this is what you have to do, this is what you have to buy. Like, no to all of that. And the more you be you, the more everybody else feels free to be themselves. So it's a beautiful gift that you can give to everyone by being your authentic self.
And the flip side of that, and I'm a big proponent of this, is live and let live, So you being your authentic self and working towards that also gives you the opportunity to let someone else be their authentic selves, even if that authentic self is totally different from you. If you look at it, when we look at the people in the media that we think are so cool and so different, it's because they're so different that we think that they're so cool. I saw something called the Geezer paradox. Have I shared that with you before?
No.
It said the only way to get cool is to stop caring about being cool, which is what makes you cool. And, this usually only happens when you're, gray haired and older. And so it's called like the geezer's paradox, you know? But I love that because it's the part of your life where you're done worrying about what other people think. You want to just do you. And the gift of that is vice, you know, is the opposite, right? Also, like not caring what someone else is doing, you know? There's someone that walks around town here that walks around playing a drum, or just talking or whatever, just, you know, really interesting and fun to look at every time I see this person. And he's just doing his own thing, like just, you know, playing a spoon or hitting a drum or walking down the road, talking to himself, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? He's not harming anybody. He's having a good time. He feels good. I feel good that he feels good. Win-win, you know? So be, you know, be yourself, and more importantly, let other people be themselves. And it's so satisfying when someone gets to just show up and be themselves. I think it's absolutely beautiful in every way.
Yes. All right.
So to recap, be yourself, speak your truth, be present when you are with
You froze.
weird.
Be present. Did you have something else?
Consistency, pick the type of event that you like to go to and go to it often. People love to see people, and we love to see people progress and, you know, share their joys. So don't be afraid to share your joy either.
Love it. Just a reminder for anybody who's listening today, tomorrow we have our free webinar. And we're going to be talking about the 4 elements: earth, air, water, fire, and learning about how to tap into those tools to create an impact in your life. And what else we got?
We have our retreat coming up in June. That's about halfway sold out. So a couple more spots available. We will be talking a lot about that as well at the webinar. So if you have questions and you want to know more, please, that's the perfect time to join a group and ask questions. I think you might even be able to put in a chat, and if you're like really shy, or you can text us or whatever, you can ask it anonymously. But we're going to talk about some of that stuff. So yeah, lots of exciting things going on. And, you know, we both have programming done for the rest of the year, so you can hop on anywhere online and find everything that we're doing.
Yes, yes. There's a lot of fun stuff coming up. And again, like a beautiful place to come in and be a safe space for you to be you. Like I think about sometimes too, like it's almost, you know, we've put on this costume, this character of who we think we're supposed to be, and actually coming out as your true authentic self can be scary. And so these events that we have are safe spaces for you to come and be you and practice being you, so that it becomes safe to go out and do it anywhere in the world.
Yeah. And also, some of the stuff we do is just downright ridiculous and funny. So it doesn't have to be that serious either. Like you could just show up as a normal person, living a normal life. It's okay. Not everything has to be so deep either. We do have a good time. We really, you know what we should share? We should share the pictures of the belly dancing type stuff that we did before. Yeah, we have fun. We know how to be fun.
We are so fun.
We're so fun. I mean, I don't know if anyone's listening, but at least you and I are having a good time. So that's important.
Always. Absolutely. So, oh, that's what I forgot to tell you. No, so I was at dinner the other night, and one of the people there that I had no idea, she listens to our show sometimes. So, Valerie, in case you're listening to this one, hello.
Yes, welcome to all our listeners. And I know a lot of people listen on replay. So if you do, especially if you're like on YouTube or anything like that, drop us a comment. Like, again, if you can't mail me a postcard, drop me a comment.
That's just as good, right?
You're busy. You don't want to send me a postcard. It's fine. But drop me a little comment, just let us know and tell us if there's anything specific you want to talk about. Otherwise you're just going to listen to us talk about the weather and the birds for quite some time. So all with love, all with love.
Absolutely.
All
All right,
right.
I think that's a wrap. I want to wish
That's it.
everybody a magical day.